everyone, and welcome to another video with model tanks of Spartan 086. And today we're not doing a tank, weirdly enough. We are going to do Forces of Valor's 1 to 1000 Bismarck. So, right off the top, bit of a weird one, not something usually I collect, is the 1 to 1000s, but it arrived, it was listed as a 1 to 700. I was quite annoyed, and then the more I looked at it, the more I thought, you know what, it's not that bad, might as well keep it. So as you see in front of me, it has the original Denmark Straits paint scheme that was put on by the Kriegsmarine, and it is in fairly good condition. Obviously, there's a wee bit of damage and things like that, but we'll get to that as we go around. Anybody that knows anything about naval history and special warfare will remember that the Bismarck, on its main voyage with the heavy cruiser Prince Eugen, set sail and headed out into the North Atlantic. Their job was to wreak havoc, cause all kinds of mischief, and basically destroy as much shipping going to the United Kingdom as possible. She was a 50,000 ton monster, and the idea of her getting out there completely upset not just the Prime Minister, but the entire Admiralty within the Navy. So a number of aspects were looked at. The home fleet was put on alert, and where she could possibly come out was looked at. One of those positions was the Denmark Straits, which sits just between Greenland and Iceland. The Royal Navy sent two fairly competent warships, one being the Mighty Hood, HMS Hood, the largest warship at that time. She was designated as a battle cruiser, which most people nowadays would class as a fast battleship. She was, as I said, she was the fastest, the largest warship at the time. The only other warships that became bigger than her were the Iowa class battleships in the United States and the Yamato class super battleships of the Imperial Japanese Navy. Back to it. So Hood's sent up there, and she's under Admiral Holland, as well as the new battleship King George V. The new battleship Prince of Wales, which was a King George V class battleship. Apologies about that. To the Admiralty, that seems like a fairly good force. There was a number of cruiser screens, etc. up there, so they were looking for her. So, back to the point, Bismarck set sail. She's got a number of aspects, and she's under the command of, overall the task force, is under the command of Admiral Lutyens. Lutyens, who was well known within the Kriegsmarine as being a pretty good tactician, had got the battleships or battle cruisers or fast battleships, depending how you want to look at it, Scharnhorst and Eisenhower through the English Channel and the famous Channel Dash. Funny enough, accompanying them as well was the heavy cruiser Prince Eugen. So that wee cruiser, I would love it if Forces of Valor did something about her. She is pretty much a legend in what she's been able to do in our history. So the Lutyens decided, this is where I'm going to go, decided to go against the Denmark Straits, because he believed that the cold air would create a fog bank, a mist over the water, and he could slip through past British cruiser screens, which he almost did. At the time, two heavy cruisers, which was the Suffolk and the Norfolk, were patrolling in the area. Both of them had fairly good radars. I'm sure it was the Suffolk, that had a more up-to-date radar, and she clocked the Bismarck, and they reported it. So right away, Admiral Hollands decided, right, I need to intercept. The Suffolk and the Norfolk shadowed her. They gave her position regularly, and Hollands plotted a course for the two warships where to intercept. Bismarck manages to lose her pursuers, and she kind of gets away. But the course that Hollands has set, basically the intercept is fairly good. They arrive in the morning, they see each other, and the battle begins. Thing about Bismarck is let's be honest, from what I learned about the German warships, I was never a naval tactician, I was a gunner, but from what I learned about them was they had very good gun control and excellent rangefinders. The gunners on the ships were well trained, their skill set was pretty good, so it wasn't long before Bismarck found the range on Hood, and how you want to see it, if it's a lucky shot or not, she sent a shell into the rear of Hood, and it is believed that it set off a magazine. It set off the cordite that was stored there, and that ended up with Hood being blown apart and going down. After the battle, Bismarck continued to shell away at the battleship Prince of Wales, which, brand new, she was not fully worked up, she hadn't really done a lot of exercises, had a lot of malfunctions, and at one point only one of her turrets was working. She managed to make smoke and ended up leaving the area, and the whole crew of the Bismarck wanted to give chase and finish her off, but Admiral Lutyens refused. He had his orders from the Führer, so they left. Within this time, Suffolk and Norfolk and Prince of Wales followed, shadowing them at times, firing away and then withdrawing. At this time, Admiral Tovey, he decided that he needed to sink the Bismarck for British pride as well as revenge. They had to get rid of this battleship. She just took out the pride of the Royal Navy, and she was the menace, and it had to be gone. So Tovey ordered everything in the area, his own flagship King George V, and battle cruisers Renown, the carriers Illustrious and Ark Royal, HMS Rodney. Everything that he could scramble was moved out and went searching. Eventually they were found. I'm going to cut the short story right down. Everybody knows what happened. A number of torpedoes were launched. One of them somehow managed to clip right about here, and just when they thought they'd lost her, this little stroke of luck with the rudder getting set, the explosion caused the rudder to set, it couldn't be turned away, and was set at an angle, so the Bismarck was just going to go round and round. Within that time, the bulk of the home fleet fell on them. Running low on fuel, Rodney, King George V, closed the distance and basically pummeled Bismarck to a pulp. But in true showing of the name, obviously coming from the Iron Chancellor, she refused to go down. A lot of stories will tell you that the British sunk her through shell fire. A lot of stories will tell you the Royal Navy sunk her through torpedoes set off from HMS Devonshire. What came from the survivors of Bismarck was that they scuttled her. Even though she was on fire, she was still sailing away, doing the thing. They thought, we're not going to take the chance that she falls into the British hands and is held as a war trophy, so they scuttled her. And she now sits about 3 miles below the surface in the North Atlantic. So that's the wee history to her. The model, which we'll get to now, the model is in fairly good condition. As I say, it still has the paint scheme of her Denmark Straits engagement. I have Anton and Bruno turrets there with the guns fairly elevated. You can see the secondaries here and here and here. You've got a wee Arado spotter plane there, lifeboats and funnel there, and you've got DCSs there, and you have at the rear, obviously you've got Caesar and Doris turrets. The Germans tended to keep the names the same on each ship. For the British, it was AB, X and Y turret. For the Americans, I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4 turret, depending on the class and the ship, etc. Again, I could be wrong in that, so if any of my American viewers are watching and they know history, please put it down and get me corrected. So overall you can see it's pretty good. It's for such a small scale, it's actually got a lot of detail. And to show you how the scale is, I'm going to put down Bismarck's little sister, or how you want to look at it, big sister, Tippets. She is 1 to 700 scale. So that just shows you obviously the dimensions of the ships. I wish I had Bismarck now in a 1 to 700 scale, but I don't, so just have to deal with that. Overall, size, it is fairly good. There's actually, I would say in certain bits, she has a wee bit more detail than a Big Brother. You can see at the front here, take you in, that there's a wee bit more detail obviously on the anchor chains compared to Turpit's. But apart from that, overall, she's fairly good, and she will be added to the collection of warships now taking place at in the tank room. So, I hope you guys are well, I hope you're taking care. I'm going to put another couple of videos up today for everybody, and please like and subscribe. I love to see everybody liking and subscribing. My numbers have shot up recently, and it's absolutely brilliant. Love to see it. I wish everybody well and taking care. Until the next time, have a good one. Bye bye.